Good morning students, welcome to grade 10 NCERT Economics chapter 3 Money and Credit. This is video number 4. Previously we discussed 3 videos. In that videos we discussed what is money, how money is act as a medium of exchange. Then we understand what is a medium of exchange. That is money is used in between that exchange of goods and services. Therefore, it is called a medium of exchange. Then, before introduction of money, there was a system practiced in the goods and services, exchange of goods and services, that is called a barter system, that is exchange of goods to goods. So, in this barter system, there is a condition, it is called double coincidence of funds. This that means both buyer and seller to accept exchange their goods or services. This is called double coincidence of funds. Money replace this condition, double coincidence of funds. So therefore money is introduced. We discussed history of money, who introduced money, which period, which king introduced money, and after independence who issued the currency of India. That is RBI, Reserve Bank of India, we discussed it. Then we discussed creation of bank system and how the banks is dealing with the public, the people who have more money, and how the money is utilized for the people who need for this money. It is called loan activities. We discussed in this all. Then we discussed that different way that the people getting loans from different sources of credit. This is we discussed in the third videos. Now today's video we are going to discuss terms of credit. Then we are going to discuss what is collateral, then how the bank is supervised by RBI, Reserve Bank of India, functions of Reserve Bank of India. Then we discussed what is called what's the difference between that formal source of credit and informal source of credit. We will discuss one by one now. The terms of credit. What is called terms of credit? Interest rate. Try to understand what is called terms of credit. Interest rate. Mode of payment. Collateral. Documents and other major records. All together is called terms of credit. Students, please try to understand what is called the terms of credit. Interest rate, that is how much of rate of interest is collected by the the money lender or the bank, whatever it is, whether it is a formal source of credit or informal source of credit, how much of rate of interest is collected by the money lenders. Then next, mode of payment, whether EMI, that is every month investment, or every week, or every a year or some amount of rupees every year is the total amount is repaying. This is called a mode of payment. And collateral, we will discuss what is collateral in the next topic in the same video. Next, documents. Already we discussed in the previous video. What are the documents the money, the loan taker have to give to the money lender or bank. So these are the major documents and records. All together is called terms of credit. Now let us understand what is collateral. Collateral is nothing but it is a collateral. Collateral is the assets of the borrowers such as the original documents, of lands, buildings, livestock, vehicles, bank deposits, etc. So these are the documents, or any profitable business can be used as a collateral by the borrower. The lender keeps these documents for the loan amount until loan amount and interest repaid by the borrower. Students, please try to understand what is collateral. Collateral is nothing but it is the assets of the borrower, such as the documents of lands, buildings, livestock, vehicles, bank deposits, etc. So these can be used as a collateral by the lender, and he keeps the lender keeps these documents for the loan amount until the loan amount and interest repaid by the borrower. Now let us understand the formal source of credit, informal source of credit. Generally the loan activity is divided into two categories, that is formal source of credit. Government, cooperative societies and commercial banks are comes under formal source of credit. The other non-institutional agencies, relatives and friends, money lenders and landlords. The last one is the other institutional agencies. These all together informal source of credit. In the previous video, we discussed that Kishak cooperative society. Cooperative societies are established by the industrial workers or farmers or weavers. They pool their resources in the society, and the society give these deposits, and the society accept the deposits from the members, and these deposits will be given to as collateral to the any commercial banks or formal nationalized banks, and collecting the loan amount from this bank and distribute the members. That is called cooperative societies. We discussed in the previous video. And commercial banks like banks KVB, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, or the banks which are always comes under nationalized banks like State Bank of India, IOB, Indian Overseas Bank, Indian Bank. So these are the banks comes under the list of commercial banks. So these source of credit, 1, 2, 3, these three categories are comes under formal source of credit, and these 5 are comes under informal source of credit. So total 25 plus 25, 50 plus 1, 51%. 51% of credit is taken from the formal source of credit. This pie chart represents them in 2012 India rural people taking the loan from the formal source of credit 51%, and the remaining 49%, that is 33 plus 8 plus 2 plus 5 all together is 49%. This 49% of loan credit loan or credit is taken from the informal source of credit. These are the, we must understand these sources of credit, formal source of credit and informal source of credit. From the diagram, you can understand that the 25% of loans are taken from the cooperatives and commercial banks, and 1% is taken from the government. So, Nirmala Sitharaman, she is the present Union Finance Minister. During the COVID-19 lockdown, she granted so much of 20,000 crores of money is granted for the development of industries and farmers and so on. So this is given by the government, and the remaining is taken from the cooperative societies and commercial banks. At the same time, people are getting credit or loan from these informal source of credit. Now this is the time to understand about RBI. What is the full form for RBI? Do you know? R refers to Reserve, B for Bank, Bank of India, I for India. Reserve Bank of India. This is otherwise called Central Bank of India. In some other countries, it is called, in their country's name, instead of India, they use Federal Bank or Central Bank of America, Federal Bank of America, Federal Bank of Europe, the Federal Bank of Germany, Italy, and so on. So in India, we call it as Reserve Bank of India. This was established in the year on 1st April 1935 in Kolkata. under British government. The RBI was established on 1st April 1935. 2 years later, it was shifted. It shifted its headquarters from Kolkata to Bombay. Now it is called Mumbai in 1937. After independence, in 1949, it was nationalized by Government of India. So this is the information that about RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Now let us understand the functions of RBI. Functions of RBI. The functions of RBI is entirely different from that of other both public and private banks, other commercial banks. Please, student, understand RBI is entirely different the functions of other banks. In what way? It is the highest apex of banks. Banks of India. The RBI issues coins and currencies of India, except 1 rupee. The head of the RBI is the governor of RBI. Do you know who is the present governor of RBI? Shakti Kandadas. Shakti Kandadas was he is an retired IAS officer, retired retired IAS officer of Odisha, is the current RBI governor. His monthly salary is minimum 2.5 lakhs. 2.5 lakhs per month. He signs all the currencies of India except 1 rupee, because 1 rupee is printed by central government of financial secretary signs in the 1 rupee. All other currencies signed by RBI governor. The RBI regulates the floating of money in the Indian economy. Floating means the currency used by the people, exchange of goods and services, that is called floating. So RBI governor signs all the currencies except 1 rupee, and the RBI regulates the floating of money in the Indian economy. So the RBI supervises functions of other banks, other commercial banks. The RBI fixes the repo rates of other banks. What is called repo rates? It is nothing but other banks getting loan from the RBI, because it is a banker of banks. Therefore, the commercial banks, they are getting loan from the RBI. So the RBI fixes the rate of interest for other banks. It is called repo rates. All the banks in India, should submit the reports of their loan activities and maintenance of minimum balance So these are the functions of RBI. RBI supervises the functions of other commercial banks. The RBI fixes the repo rates of other banks. All the banks in India should submit the reports of their loan activities, how much of loan amount is they are lending to the public and how much of a rate of interest is collected from the borrowers, and the RBI also is supervises the banks. The loan activity should not as a profit making business. So these are the main functions of the RBI. There are two sources of credit or sectors of credit practiced in the Indian economy. The first one is the formal source of credit and the next one is the informal source of credit. Let us understand the differences between the formal source of credit and the informal source of credit. This includes the banks and cooperatives cooperative societies credits. This includes money lenders, friends and relatives, landlords, traders, etc. So the formal source of credit includes the banks and cooperative societies credits. This includes the money lenders, friends and relatives, landlords, traders, and private financial companies. Private financial companies like Muthoot Finance or Mahindra Finance companies. So these are the example for informal source of credit. The second point is the RBI supervises the banks and cooperatives loan activities. There is no, in this case, there is no any such organization or institution supervise this kind of credits. Students, please understand, formal source of credit, bank and cooperatives. Informal source of credit is, these are the money lenders, friends and relatives, landlords, traders, and private financial companies. The RBI, the second point is the RBI supervises the banks and cooperatives loan activities, there is no any such organization to look after or to supervise this kind of credits. So in the case of formal source of credit, the rate of interest is reasonable or nominal. It is affordable, whereas in this case of informal source of credit, the rate of interest is always very high. In formal source of credit, there is no chance for getting loan without collateral. The collateral is must. Whereas in the informal source of credit, collateral is rarely demanded. Because the lender and borrower are personally well known, so mutually they are well known, therefore they do not demand any collateral. No chance for fresh loan without the repayment of the previous loan or old loan. As in the informal source of credit, fresh loan can be claimed. Fresh loan can be obtained by a borrower without the repayment of old loans. Students, please understand, in the case of formal source of credit, the rate of interest is very, very cheap or nominal or affordable. The collateral is must in the source of credit, whereas in the informal source of credit, the rate of interest is always very high. The collateral is rarely demanded. There is no chance for fresh loan without repayment of old loans, whereas in this case of informal source of credit, fresh loans can be obtained by a borrower without the repayment of previous loan. In the formal source of credit, they give loans not just for profit making business, Whereas in the case of formal source of credit, their main object is only profit. In the informal source of credit, they lend loan for borrower only for getting more profit, whereas in the case of formal source of credit, they give loans not for profit making business, and also it is supervised by the RBI. They do not use, generally they don't use any unfair means, whereas in the case of informal source of credit, they use any extreme unfair means to recollect the loan amount. So here also means to recollect the loan amount. Students, please understand, in the case of formal source of credit, they give loans not for just profit making business, and they do not use any unfair means to recollect recollect the loan amount. Whereas in the case of informal source of credit, they use any unfair means, even they will murder and they will recapture their profit, recap their property or anything. So in this case is very difficult repaying the loan, whereas in the formal source of credit, generally they don't use in such a very cruel or unfair means to recollect the money. So in the formal source of credit, the rich can easily accessible these credits because the rich is able to produce collateral and documents, whereas but not poor. So in the case of formal source of credit, rich can easily obtain or accessible this credit but not poor. It is because why it is easily accessible for poor? For rich, because they are able to produce the collateral, and the poor cannot produce the collateral. In this case of informal source of credit, both rich and poor can obtain this credit. In the formal source of credit, delay in process, that is delay in the loan process due to more paperwork and red tapeism. That is, red tapeism is nothing but from First, the borrower have to meet the first table. From table to table, the paperwork will be moved and finally get the sanction of the higher authority. So then only the borrower can get the loan. Whereas in this case, in the informal source of credit, the money or loan will be sanctioned immediately. So both the lender and borrower get benefited, whereas in this informal source of credit, the borrowers, the lender get benefited and borrower met the debt trap, they lost their property. With this, today's topic is get over about the formal and informal source of credit differences. Thank you for watching the video.